الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله نبينا محمد ومن والاه ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. The Shaykh actually just recited a beautiful ayah towards the end of that section that he recited, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an analogy about sleep and describes what happens to the souls. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said at the end, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً لِقَوْمٌ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. So like in that there is an ayah, there's a sign in this phenomenon of the souls during sleep and what happens to the soul. There's a sign for those who think, right? So we want to be قَوْمٌ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, right? We want to be a people who think and reflect. And so in the spirit of that, I was going to give a very, very brief talk that I was asked to give. We know that Ramadan is the month of hopefully taqwa, among other things. And we've discussed this a lot now. And we know that part of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed fasting on us is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, like we said before, that you may attain mindfulness, awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll remind you that one holistic definition for taqwa that we gave in the past is that we said that there's a statement attributed to Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu, where he said that taqwa is that analogy of taqwa is like the one who's walking through a thorny path and raises up his garment so that he is aware, right? So he doesn't harm himself as he's walking through that path. And so taqwa is this deep awareness. And if there's a month that can teach you how to be really aware and mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every step of the way, it has to be Ramadan, and it has to be fasting, right? Throughout the day, most of us don't forget we're fasting. We may have a moment where you forget you're fasting, you make a mistake, but for the most part, we don't really forget, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on our mind. We have this taqwa, we have this awareness that we're in an ibadah, that even if I'm not praying right now, I'm just doing my work, but we know, but I'm fasting. So we try to watch our tongues, we try to restrain ourselves, control our desires. This is all taqwa. This is taqwa. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Ali Imran yesterday, or last night, we went through a beautiful group of ayat that I very quickly wanted to just reiterate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah said, rush towards forgiveness that's from Him, and a jannah, a heaven, a garden, a paradise that is as wide as the heavens and the earth. It has been prepared, u'iddat lil-muttaqeen. It's been prepared for the people of taqwa, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He gives us a couple of ayat where He describes who are the people of taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. So those, the ones of taqwa, are those who they spend, their example is those who spend in openly and in private, and they control their anger, they restrain themselves, and they pardon others. They pardon others, they forgive others, they overlook others' mistakes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yuhib al-muhsinin, He loves the people who do excellence. And then Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. And He says they are also those ones who, when they commit a fahisha, or ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ, or they wrong themselves. Notice Allah is talking about the muttaqeen. You may think muttaqeen don't do sins. La, Allah says the muttaqeen are those that when they slip and they commit fahisha or they wrong themselves, ذَكَرُوا اللَّهِ, they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ, they seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their sins. وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and who is going to forgive the sins other than Allah? وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا, and they're not persistent on what they do, right? They remember Allah and they turn back. وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. They're not persistent in what they're doing, their sin, while knowingly, right? Meaning if a person falls back into a sin, does that mean he cannot be muttaqi? No, unless he's doing it knowingly and saying, I don't care to fall back into it. But so beautiful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that description to describe the people of taqwa. And then He says, أُولَٰئِكَ جَزَاؤُهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَجَنَّاتٌ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا وَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ. He says, those are the ones who their reward, جزاؤهم, is going to be forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the gardens, al-Jannah, تجري من تحتها الأنهار, under which rivers flow. خالدين فيها, they will dwell in there forever. ونعم أجر العاملين, اللهم اجعلنا منهم يا Allah. And how beautiful is the work and the reward of the righteous. And again, in Surah Ali Imran, which we concluded yesterday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, He mentions taqwa. He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اصْبِرُوا وَصَابِرُوا وَرَابِطُوا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. He says, O you who believe, have sabr, like endurance, and persevere, and encourage that, and rabitu, and basically stand guard, keep your station, right? In the context of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that each of us has a role to play. He's saying rabitu, yani don't give up your position. Wattaqullah, and have taqwa of Allah, la'allakum tuflihun, that you may be successful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summarizes the whole surah again with this concept of taqwa. So yani, may Allah give us an understanding of this concept. It's a very deep concept. Yani, we're never going to stop learning what taqwa really means. But it's just a very brief reminder that this is really one of the cornerstones of Ramadan. Part of taqwa we're forced to develop in Ramadan, because like we said, for your fast to be valid, you have to think about Allah, right? You have to. You have to be aware that there's rules, right? You can't do certain things, even though water is halal, water is tayyib, water is tahir, right? Water. But when Allah says no, then okay, then no, then I don't do it. And so that's a type of taqwa. But then there's a second element to taqwa, which is voluntary. And this is the taqwa of those who are going to excel and hopefully be from the ones Allah is describing here. That you pardon others, that you restrain yourselves. This is all comes from a deep sense of awareness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of all of our affairs. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us correct understanding. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. What about the